I've been wanting to make a video about working with your Mustangs with their hooves. And this right here is Freedom's first 20-minute trim all the way around. But it didn't come that easy. I want to show you the process that I used to get her to this point where, as you can see, she is doing pretty great at holding her foot for me and allowing me to work with her hooves. In order to work well with a horse's hooves, it's important to understand the context that horses' feet fall into for them. So for horses, their feet are their greatest defense against danger. So it's kind of understandable if they're a little wary about us working with their feet, because that's literally what they use to defend their life in the wild. I'm going to go back a little bit and show you where we started. This is going to show Freedom's first trim that was done with her being on a lead. She's had other trims, but they've all been done at Liberty in the horse corral. So here we are, the first day that I worked with her after her having time away from much human contact over the winter. I want you to notice that I really check to see where she's comfortable. As you can tell right there, that first time I touched her, she wasn't even comfortable with me lifting up her hoof. I gave her a little break and then I came back, and now she's giving me her hoof for a little bit. Some people, when they train their horses with their hooves, when she pulled away like she did just then, they will want to hold on to that. This again goes with that idea that if your horse feels like they can escape from something, that they're going to keep getting away from it, and it's going to make it harder for them to trim their hooves. I come from a different approach. I believe that the horse needs to understand that they can have their leg back at any time. Like I said, this is their defense mechanism. You can tell right there, she didn't even want me to do much with her hoof. She let me pick it up, but beyond that, she wanted it back. That's okay. It's okay to give your horses some time to think about it, to come to understand this world. They won't know why we're trying to pick up their hooves. For them, that's simply part of being safe, is having access to movement. I think one of the most important things is that as we start working with our horses, we go slow. So as you can see, I'm kind of taking a break. She was uncomfortable. She's moving away. We're just getting comfortable again, helping her realize that she's safe. I'm not the enemy and I'm on her side. I think one thing we really fail to do when we teach horsemanship, particularly to the younger generation, is to teach people to pay attention to horses' body language and how they're feeling. Is the horse comfortable? Right there, you can see she's kind of lowered her head. She's eating some. She's comfortable for a minute. But then she doesn't have access to her feet. And again, that makes it nervous. I let it go. That's fine. She can have her foot back. I don't need to desperately hang onto her foot, trying to tell her, like, once I have your foot, you can never have it back. Of course, she's not going to want to give it to me again if I pick her foot up and she is stuck there with it and has no say in it. We're going to speed things up a little because this is a long process. But the main point that I want to hit home is give your horse some say in your access to their feet. Pick them up, and I would say even push them a little bit. It's okay to sometimes hold on to that, to not give in right away. But then let them know, like, yeah, you can have your foot back. You're safe. You can leave if you want to, so that they understand, like, I don't need to leave. I don't need to be scared, because if something happens, your human is a partner and they are also watching out for you. As we speed up, you can see that this is a continual process of getting her comfortable, then going back to her feet, picking it up, messing around with it, pushing it a little bit. And a lot of times our deadlines kill us when we try and do this, because we think I have to get her feet all done in one day. This trim took me 4 or 5 days. And so it wasn't quick, and I didn't have a timeline. We just worked while we were both in a position to work on it. And sometimes I was done before her because it was really exhausting trimming horses' hooves. So we're just stopping, going for the hoof. When she asks for release, I give her release. We readjust. We get comfortable again. We take a break when it's needed. I give her some pets. This obviously is going really fast, In reality, this is a very long process. It is slow and it is time consuming, and that's okay because this whole time we are getting to know and understand each other. She is coming to understand that I can be trusted, that I have her best interest in mind, that I am not going to make her stay if she is feeling scared or nervous. Here you can see a little bit faster, day 1, again and again and again. Come in, get her comfortable, get her hoof, push her to where it becomes a little bit uncomfortable, and let her have some release. So this day you can see we were able to start working on the other side a little bit. You can tell I'm a little bit tired, and every opportunity is a training opportunity. So, I kind of stop, spend some time with her. I lay over her back a little bit because that's something she's going to need to get used to for riding. And we also just hang out. That should always be part of horse training, to just spend some time being in each other's presence. After a little break, we work on it a little bit more. She's not interested. Sometimes the best thing you can do is stop. Here we are, day 2. So I kind of start back on that other hoof, starting on the trim and working on that. And as you can see, she doesn't need quite as much release, but we're still coming in, picking up the hoof, letting it down when she needs a break, standing up for a minute, giving her some pets. And the other thing you might notice is that I let my horses eat when they are getting trimmed. Most of the time, my horses aren't actually even tied up, and she's not. The rope is just thrown over the panels there. But most of the time, the lead is just loose, and they have the option to stay there or not. We expect a lot out of our horses. They're these animals who are constantly wanting to move, and then we suddenly think, hey, you should stand here perfectly for me while I do this weird thing that you have no idea what it is, and I expect you to not have any issues with that. Working on the second hoof, and you can see she's giving it to me for longer periods of time. She's understanding that she can have her foot back if she needs it back. And so again, I just kind of go with her. When she wants her foot back, she can have it back. And I start where she's comfortable. When she is not comfortable, if she was not comfortable with me touching that side of her body or touching her leg, those are the places that I would start and want to get her comfortable. So I pick it up, I work on her hoof until she's uncomfortable, and then I let her have it back. So as you can see, it's a long process, picking up the hoof, releasing when she gets uncomfortable, and sometimes I will hold it a little bit longer, but always when she shows me that she wants to be released, that's when I release it. When she's struggling a little bit against it, that's when I release it, because I want her to know that she can escape if she feels she needs to. Now we're on day 3. And as you can see, I'm kind of going back to that first hoof, checking it out, and then we're moving on to that back hoof. And you might notice there's dogs around, there's other things around. I don't want my horses put in a little bubble where circumstances always have to be ideal or they're not going to be able to handle it. So yes, the dogs add another element, and it's something she has to think about, but it's also something we can work together with to let her know she's safe and I'm here. I'm her protector now. And whether we like it or not, when we take a horse into our life, that truly is what we become. We are the one that is responsible for protecting them from all the dangers that they might face. Also, letting them know that they're okay and they're safe. As you can see, again, I kind of leaned up on her. It's a great opportunity to just rest while also having her get used to having some weight on her back. And we get to move on to the 4th hoof today and work on that for a little bit. Hopefully this can kind of give you an idea of a great way to approach hooves. And that is really the key for me, is find out where your horse is comfortable. That could be you 5 feet away from her when you have a new Mustang. It could be she's totally fine with you picking up her leg. But that, as her partner, that's your responsibility to help her figure out. And here we are on day 4, going around, working on the hooves again. As you can see, I do a lot of repeat. So the hooves that she's already had worked on, I still go back, lift them up. Let's remember that I've done this before and that you are okay with it and that we're all fine, that we're safe. As you can tell from this video, she is withdrawing her hoof a lot less often. She is spending a lot more time just being okay with me having that up in my hand, because she has come to realize it's okay. I'm still safe, even though I don't have access to my hoof right now. If I need it back, she knows that I will release it back to her. Now, I really wanted to show this approach because I've seen a lot of people who approach teaching horses to have their hooves worked with in ways where the horse doesn't get any release. Some people, I think, can do it in compassionate ways and do it well. It's not something that personally works for me. Now we're going into 3 weeks later when I'm rechecking her hooves and just seeing what upkeep she might need on them. And as you can see, this process is going a lot faster. She is letting me keep her hoof for longer periods of time where I can really get in there and do some work. You might notice me kneeling down. This is something where it's so important that you know the horse you're working with. I would not do this with every horse. I would not even do this with her if she was not in a calm, relaxed state. The first trim that I did of this season took about 4 days. This second trim that I do ends up taking 20 to 30 minutes where we're just working together. There's a saying that's often used in horse training, and it's go slow so that you can go fast. And for some people, every time you pick up their hooves, it's a constant fight because they've never developed that comfort, understanding that they can have their feet back if they need to. And so it's really in a panic state. As you can see with her, she's pretty comfortable. She's got her head down, she's eating. We're kind of just hanging out. Because I took my time with that first trim and created an environment with her where she can relax, she can eat, and enjoy it just as much as I can enjoy being with her. It becomes something that is an area that we can work really well together, and it no longer takes forever to do. We're not having big fights. She's not throwing me around with her leg and I'm trying to hang on. I've definitely seen that happen before. So just to summarize, here are some key takeaways. If you are working with a Mustang or a horse who is uncomfortable with their hooves being worked with, the first thing is to learn to read their body language. Where are they comfortable? And you need to determine where they're comfortable so that you know where to start with the work you do. If that's 3 feet away, you need to work with them getting comfortable with you moving closer to them. If that's you touching their leg, then they need to be comfortable with you touching their leg before you're picking their hoof up, their defense mechanism. 6 weeks later, I checked her hooves again, and this time I gave the hoof stand a little try. She seems to be okay with it. She was so relaxed, I thought, hey, let me see if I can grab a little video while she keeps her hoof there, and she did. If you found this video helpful and you want to see more, be sure to subscribe. If there's something else you'd like to learn, let me know in the comments.